I'm Aaron Maté, sitting in for Jimmy Dore here with Americans comedian Kurt Metzger, and we're talking about Seymour Hersh, who has exposed so much in his career, the My Lai massacre, Abu Ghraib torture scandal, and now he's reporting that the U.S. blew up the Nord Stream 2 is being ignored in the U.S. media. And to the extent it's being acknowledged, there are people trying to poke holes in it. When this is a reporter with a very, very impressive track record, and that's why he's won every award you can possibly imagine. So Seymour Hersh is being ignored by the U.S. media, but he's getting more of an audience over in Europe. So here he is speaking to a German outlet called Activism Munich and talking about some of the attacks that have been thrown his way for reporting that the U.S. blew up the Nord Stream 2.
Can you possibly talk about a source? I've written many stories based on sources, unnamed sources, constantly. Of course, if I name somebody, they'd be fired or worse, jailed. I mean, for absolutely, the law is so strict now. I've never had anybody exposed. And of course, when I say, as I did in this article, a source, period. That's all I say. And over the years, the stories I've written have always been accepted. But, you know, a personal attack is so stupid. It doesn't get to the point. And the point is that, you know, you're not going to like the point. The point is Biden chose to keep it cold this winter. The president of the United States would rather see Germany cold than Germany possibly not support him in the Ukraine. And that, to me, is going to be the devastating thing for this White House and for me, and I think for the people on the mission and others.
So here he's saying he's saying that the President Biden would rather freeze Germany than have Germany drop out of the Proxy War coalition in Ukraine. So Biden basically sacrificed Germany's economic well-being and let Germany go cold because he didn't want to see Germany drop out of the Proxy War coalition. The Proxy War is more important to Biden and his administration than the well-being of Germany and the rest of Europe. And you can say Ukraine too, because ultimately it's Ukrainians who are being sacrificed for this proxy war.
It was appalling.
And I mean, the story is that it can be perceived as an act of war, not only against Russia, but against a NATO partner, isn't it?
It's just make it simple. I can tell you my understanding that the people involved, I'm talking the same way. I'm talking from my understanding is that they saw him as choosing to keep you cold for his short-range political goals. And that horrified, I'm talking about American people that are intensely loyal to the United States, intensely loyal. And they understand, in the CIA, it's understood that, you know, the way I put it in the article, they work for the crown. They don't work for the Constitution. You know, the one virtue of the CIA is a president who can't do anything in Congress and nobody listens to him. Can take a walk in the backyard of the Rose Garden of the White House with the CIA director and somebody can get hurt 8,000 miles away. That's always been the selling point of the CIA, which I have problems with it. But I can just tell you, even in that community, it's appalling that he chose to keep Europe cold.
What he's saying here is that there are even some people on the inside who thought this was a terrible decision, that this would hurt not just Europe, but also hurt the U.S. as well, that it would backfire.
And these are scumbags that would do anything.
Yes, that's right.
And it'd shock them.
Some of them, yeah.
Rather, in support of a war that he's not going to win. And that, to me, is heinous.
You said in your report that the planning of the attack was not reported to Congress as it was necessary with other covert operations.
The White House always said, "Oh, that's actually untrue of everything that's done." You know what? Yeah, sure. It wasn't reported to many places inside the military where it should have been either. Okay, there were other places. There were people that should have known that did. It was very secret. Okay, big deal.
And Sy Hersh has a record of exposing covert activity. In the dirty war in Syria, he reported in the London Review of Books that the way the U.S. was able to keep that from Congress, and this is the war in which the U.S. spent tens of billions of dollars arming sectarian death squads that they knew were fighting hand in hand alongside al-Qaeda. The way the U.S. kept that secret was by basically outsourcing the whole program. It was called Timber Sycamore. It was the CIA operation in Syria, outsourcing that to the MI6 in the UK. And because it's outsourced to a foreign government, therefore they don't have to tell Congress. And here he is now exposing how it was kept covert, how the operation to blow up Nord Stream 2 was kept out of congressional oversight as well.
Big deal on Banana Street, we say in America. Anyway.
I appreciate it very much that you took your time. I think your reporting is very courageous.
What's courageous about telling truth? Our job isn't to be afraid. And sometimes it gets ugly. I mean, there have been times in my life when, I don't talk about it, but, threats aren't made to people like me. They're made to children of people like me. And so there's been awful stuff, but you don't worry about it. You have to just do what you do.
And Sy Hersh is doing what he does. He's exposing huge stories, exposing the powerful for what they do. And this is a major scandal. And notice how none of the principals named in Sy Hersh's story, William Burns, the head of the CIA, Jake Sullivan, Victoria Nuland, Antony Blinken, President Biden, since the stories come out, none of them, to my knowledge, have appeared in public. None of them have issued any statements. And the question is, will they be even asked about this when they go public? Because as the media response to Sy Hersh's story illustrates, media doesn't want to touch this story because the media, so much of the establishment media now serves power, doesn't challenge it. Sy Hersh is a very rare exception, and I'm very thankful for it.
Doing live stand-up comedy in Tempe, Palm Springs, Milwaukee, Nashville, Northampton, Massachusetts, Syracuse, Cohoes, New York, and Hartford, Connecticut. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets and become a premium member. Get access to all our content.